My name's Belinda and I'm from Hamlet Public Library and I do story time. So today I'm going to read you a couple of books and we're going to fertilize and plant our garden. So I hope you'll enjoy this video. And I'm going to read, I'm going to be a farmer. That's going to be our first book. My name is Nathan. This is my house. My mom and dad are farmers. They grow their own food. They raise potatoes to sell at the market. I want to be a farmer too. See, there's his house, and there's his farm, and there he is. Every morning we get ready to go out. I put on my boots. My little sister Meredith puts on her sneakers. Daddy and Mama get ready too. Grandpa gets his pail. See, there's Grandpa, there's little sister, there's Daddy, and there he is putting on his boots. We go to work right away. Oh, what do I see? Look, they're going to work. I wonder what they see. They're looking around the corner, see? Oh, good morning, baby chicks. Did you keep warm under the brewer? Peep, peep, baby chicks, I see you. Look, the little girl has a chick and he's surrounded by chicks. Aren't they pretty? Mommy pitches the old straw out of the barn. She puts in nice clean straw. She gives the sheep hay to eat. The pigs chewed corn cobs from our dinner last night. And I raked the floor. See, he's raking. The sheep is eating. Look at them pigs. Gobble, 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 the turkey all say. Gobble at once. They shake their red wattles. Meredith and I go to see the goose and the gander. The gander sticks out his neck and hisses at me. Go away, gander. He goes away. See, there they are. There's the goose and the gander, and see, he's yelling at him. He don't want him there. There's Red, a horse. It tickles when he nibbles the grass out of my hands. Meredith pats Chester. See, there's a horse, and see, the little girl's patting the horse. I help out a lot. I fix things, and I ride in the tractor with Daddy. It's air conditioned in the cab. Did y'all see our story hour? I drove a tractor, and it didn't have no air conditioning. There he is in the tractor with his daddy. Potatoes grow under the ground. This is what they look like when I pull them up. See, it's got the root and everything on it. And there, the potato digger drives along and digs up the potatoes. The potatoes go into the truck. Then they come out of the truck onto the conveyor belt, and then they go to market. See, there's where they're digging up. The tractor's digging up the potatoes. They go up the conveyor belt, they fall into the truck, and then when the truck is full, they come off the truck in the conveyor belt, and then they go to the market. Sometimes Meredith and I hoe the vegetable garden. I know how to pick a pepper right off the plant. This one isn't ready yet. See, he's checking the pepper, and there's their garden. Oh boy, popcorn. We help Mama pick it off the corn stalks. We fill up a whole basket. Later we will dry the corn and pop it with lots of butter. It tastes delicious. See, they planted corn. We raise all kinds of things on our farm. We grow tomatoes, sunflowers, and pumpkins. See, he has tomatoes in his hands. Look at that big sunflower, and there's his pumpkin garden. It's getting late now. We hurry home. It's getting dark. Dinner time, we have pork chops and broccoli, and guess what? Baked potatoes. Grandma and Grandpa comes over for dessert. After they go home, Daddy reads to us. We read a book about farms, just like I'm reading to you. I'm going to be a farmer. Looked like he got tired. But that's our first book, and that's about being a farmer. Now this is our second book. It's Paddington in the Garden. One morning, Paddington went out into the garden and began making a list of all the nice things he could think about, being a bear and living with the Browns. He had a room of his own, a warm bed to sleep in. He had marmalade for breakfast every morning. In the darkest Peru, he had only been allowed to have it on Sundays. The list was so long he nearly ran out of paper before he realized he had left out one of the nicest things of all. See, he's sitting there and look at all the paper. He's making list after list after list. The garden itself. Paddington liked the Browns' garden. Apart from the occasional noise from a nearby building site, it was so quiet and peaceful, it didn't seem like being in London at all. But nice gardens don't just happen. They usually require a lot of hard work, and the one at number 32 Windsor Gardens was no exception. Mr. Brown had to mow the lawn twice a week, and Mrs. Brown was kept busy weeding the flower beds. There was always something to do. Even Mrs. Bird lent a hand whenever she had a spare moment. So Mr. Brown, Miss Brown, and Miss Bird. It was Miss Bird who first suggested giving Jonathan, Judy, and Paddington each a piece of the garden. It will keep certain bears out of mischief, she said meaningly. And it will be fun for Jordan and Judy as well. Mr. Brown agreed it was a very good idea, and he marked out 3 plots at the far end of the lawn. Paddington was most excited. I don't suppose there are many bears who have their own garden, he said. Early the next morning, all 3 set to work. Judy decided to make a flower garden. Jonathan had his eye on some old paving stones. Paddington didn't know what to do. In the past, he had often found that gardening was much harder than it looked, especially when you only had paws. In the end, armed with a jar of Miss Bird's homemade marmalade, he borrowed Mr. Brown's wheelbarrow and set off to look for ideas. His first stop was a stall in the market where he bought a book called How to Plan Your Garden by Lionel Trugg. It came complete with a large pack of assorted seeds, and if the picture on the front cover was anything to go by, it was no wonder Mr. Trugg looked happy, for he seemed to do most of his planning while laying in a hammock. By the end of the book, without lifting a finger, he was surrounded by blooms. Paddington decided it was a very good value indeed, especially when the owner of the stall gave him 2 pence change. Mr. Trugg's book was full of useful hints and tips. The first one suggested before starting to work, it was a good idea to close your eyes and try to picture what the garden would look like when it was finished. Now y'all close your eyes and think of what kind of garden you would like. Having walked into a lamppost by mistake, Paddington decided to read another page or 2, and there he found a much better idea. Mr. Trugg advised standing back and looking at the site from a safe distance, preferably somewhere high up. Now, y'all have to be real careful about doing something like that. Paddington knew just the spot. By the time Paddington reached the building site near the Browns' house, it was middle of the morning, and the men were all on their tea break. Paddington placed his jar of marmalade on a wooden pallet for safekeeping. He sat on a pile of bricks for a rest while he considered the matter. There was no one about, and there was a ladder nearby. Mr. Trugg was quite right. The Browns' garden did look very different from high up, but before he had time to get his breath back, Paddington heard the sound of an engine started up. He peeped through a gap in the boards. As he did so, his eyes nearly popped out. On the ground just below him, a man was emptying a load of concrete on the very spot where he had left his jar of marmalade. Paddington scrambled back down the ladder as fast as his leg would carry him, reaching the bottom just as the foreman came around the corner. "Is anything wrong?" asked the man. "You look upset." He really likes his marmalade. "My jar has been buried," exclaimed Paddington hotly, pointing to the pile of concrete. "It has some of Miss Bird's best golden chunks in it, too." "I won't ask how your jar got there," said the foreman, turning to Paddington as his men started to work, clearing the concrete in small piles, "or what you were doing up the ladder." "I'm glad of that," said Paddington, politely raising his hat. "You always ask before you borrow a ladder and go up it, and you always have an adult's permission, okay?" Suddenly there was a whirling sound from somewhere overhead, and to Paddington's surprise, the platform landed at his feet. "My marmalade," he exclaimed thankfully. "Your marmalade," repeated the foreman, staring at the jar. "Did you say marmalade?" "That's right," said Paddington. "I put it there ready for my 11s. It must have been taken up by mistake. Now the tops come off." It was the foreman's turn to look as though he could hardly believe his eyes. "That special, quick-drying cement is probably rock hard already, ruined by Bear's marmalade. No one will give me a tuppence for it now." "I would," said Paddington eagerly. "I have an idea." Wonder what kind of idea he has. "See the rocks? They turned orange from the marmalade. They're pretty though." Paddington was busy for the rest of the week. When the builders saw the rock garden he had made, they were most impressed, and the foreman even gave him some plants to finish it off until his seeds started growing. It's National Garden Day on Saturday. There are some very famous people judging it. I'll spread the word around. You never know your luck. Look, he made fountain out of his... Look at that. Isn't that pretty? He put the rocks with the orange marmalade around it. That's really quick thinking. The foreman was as good as his word, and on Saturday, half the neighborhood turned up at number 32 Windshire Garden to see the judges arrive. Paddington nearly fell over backwards with surprise when he discovered that no less a person than Mr. Lionel Trugg himself was leading the procession. "It's very good of you to get out of your hammock, Mr. Trugg," he said. Not at all," said Lionel. "My pleasure. I must say, I love your orange stones. Where did you find them?" "I didn't," said Paddington. "I think they found me, thanks to the builders." "Look, he's got flowers all in his thing now. The foreman brought him some flowers, remember?" "Congratulations," said Mr. Trugg as he handed Paddington a gold star. "It's good to see a young bear taking up gardening. I hope you will be the first of many." "Who would have believed it?" said Mr. Brown as the last of the crowd departed. "You must write and tell Aunt Lucy all about it," Miss Bird said. "They'll be very excited in the home for retired bears when they hear the news." Paddington thought that was a good idea, but he had something to do first. He wanted to add one more important item to his list of all the nice things there were about being a bear and living with the Browns. Having my own rock garden. Then he signed his name, added his special paw print just to show it was genuine. Now, wasn't that interesting? Next time you make quick cement, if your parents have any left, then pour some jelly on it and see if you can color it. But don't do it without asking permission. So we'll be taking and fertilizing our garden and planting our garden next, so stay tuned. Mickey is sitting out fertilizer for beans, speckled butter beans. He's just laying it in the ditch. He's wanting to have 3 rows of speckled butter beans. This is Mickey making the holes so we can plant butter beans in these. There's 3 rows we want to plant butter beans. And right now he is making holes for us to go back and put the beans in. He's using the end of his hoe to make his holes. And so we'll go back and drop 2 or 3 butter beans in each hole. Yeah, I'm standing in the way. I know. My shadow is in the way. But there's the holes. And we'll put 3 beans in each hole. This is Mickey covering the seeds up. Okay, I'm standing in my own shadow. Okay, he's covering the holes up where I have placed all the beans. So we've got 3 rows of butter beans that we are planting. And then I think we're going to do squash next. And we've got watermelons and corn. So hopefully the deer and the coyotes and the wild turkeys, and who else comes out here? And the squirrels won't eat our garden up. Last year, the deer and the turkeys, we saw deer come in our garden. They ate everything up, our cucumbers, all that stuff. And we saw there was wild turkeys over here, and we got coyotes hollering in the distance, and squirrels everywhere. So I'm hoping that the deer and everything don't eat our vegetables. They even eat the grapes off the grapevine. So we got to figure out something to keep them out of the garden. Now Mickey is getting ready, the rows ready to plant corn. And here is our corn seed. This is what we're going to be planting, is corn. Silver Queen corn. So that's what we're planting next.
Okay, this is Belinda putting out corn seeds.
This is Mickey covering up the seeds that I just threw down, and we just planted 3 rows of Silver Queen corn. So I don't know who's gonna eat all that corn, but we planted 3 rows of it. So should be interesting to see how much we get to come up or how much we get to save from the deer. But next is squash, I think. We got squash and watermelon left. And then that will be it. We're not planting a big garden. We've got tomatoes and cucumbers, squash, watermelon, speckled butter beans, and corn. I think that's enough and all that me and Mickey can handle. So I hope, yeah, it is all I can handle. But anyway, I hope that y'all got something out of our gardening video, and plant a garden. If you can't do anything but get you a flower pot and plant you a tomato or a cucumber, you will be amazed at how good they taste, knowing that you planted it yourself and you got it up and you took care of it. So plant a garden. I'll see y'all later.